Good morning, Tuesday morning. How are you? I am doing awesome. It is great to have you here on the morning break. Cool guest today. We're going to talk about a lot of stuff. If you believe and know someone that is amazing connector in life, that's my friend James. He is a incredible connector of people. So we've got that coming up in the half hour that you and I get to spend together that we call the morning break. So now we changed the music, and I for right now, this is the one you guys voted for. So for right now, I'm good with it. I'm good. I'm good with doing this. We're evolving, and that's always good. It's good to evolve. It's good to change. It's good to grow. And you guys like this. So as long as you like it, we're going with it for a while until I decide to change it because it's still my show. But you guys like this one. And there's so much to talk about, by the way, today. Just interesting things going on in life in general. So we'll talk about some of those during this little break here before we have our guest with us. One of those, by the way, is today is Nutty Fudge Day. It's not normal fudge day. It is Nutty Fudge Day. Our guest is from Michigan today, and he knows about fudge from Mackinac Island. That's where I get my favorite fudge from every year. My wife and I get a chance to go up there. We go on a trip and go to Mackinac, grab some fudge, but it's Nutty Fudge Day. I got to be honest with you, not as huge a Nutty Fudge fan as I'm regular fudge. I like my fudge creamy, and I like that. That's now my wife. She likes like with M&Ms and all kinds of stuff in hers. I just like my fudge. Gotta be honest, I'm a purist when it comes to my fudge. It's like it's just regular. Don't mess with it. I like dark chocolate, which they say is not as original as the milk chocolate, but it's what I like. I mean, everybody's got to have a choice. I believe everyone should have a choice when it comes to their fudge. And I just talked about it. We go to Mackinac. By the way, the huge trend right now in travel this year is to travel someplace and do nothing. Seriously, it's like so many people, and we get caught up. We're headed. We've got a couple of trips coming up here in the next month. One of well, a little over a month. One of those is going to Puerto Rico, which of course the show won't be on during that time. Just so you know, I will be in Puerto Rico enjoying some family vacations. About 10 days, we're going to be in Puerto Rico. But in a way, I really look at this vacation kind of that way. I look at it as kind of just a do nothing vacation. I am going to a beautiful beach in Puerto Rico. That's where our condo is. My plan. Now, this does not mean this is the family plan. So if any of the family are watching, they'll probably wholeheartedly disagree with me. But my plan personally is to sit on the beach, to do very little, and it's funny because the place where we're going in Puerto Rico, it's not in a main city, it's out in the country. They warned us already of spotty internet, which I think is kind of a curse and a blessing. I don't know. But the one thing I do know I'm going to need if I go to a beach, and our looking cam today, or my hyphen snackies looking cam, when that's Florida, Deerfield Beach, Florida. Now, any beach you go to, you got to have snacks. And so I'm thinking some freeze-dried snacks from my-snackies.com, a great Christian-owned company, fantastic people. And just remember to mention Abundant TV when you order. Of course, also graduation season right around the corner. In fact, actually, in my world, starts this Friday, and then runs through pretty much, seems like almost the whole month of June. Be the cool person that comes to the party. Bring some freeze-dried snacks from my-snackies.com. Remember, when you order, mention Abundant TV. Now, you've heard me talk about it a lot because I love my coffee. Coffee to me is huge. It's a huge part of my day, huge part of my life. I don't know. I love a good coffee. I always have, always will. Grew up, first time I had coffee at the table, I was 6 years old. I come from a Scandinavian home, and that was part of it. We had coffee. Now, I didn't drink a whole cup when I was six, just so you know, but I did get my first real taste of it with my mom. I think basically about two teaspoons of it, but it made me feel like I was part of it. So I've had a great love for coffee for a very long time. And a year and a half ago, my wife came in contact with the company that we love so very much, and that is 7 Weeks Coffee. Now, you've heard me talk about it here on the show for months now, how incredible the coffee is, and it is. It's incredibly awesome coffee, and it is a great cause. 7 Weeks Coffee. Go to 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10. Now, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just being a good friend. And I'm going to tell you this. You need to try the variety pack. That's 4 of their special blends. And I recommend 2 out of that. I would get the dark roast because I love dark roast coffee. And I would get the morning blend. Now, most morning blends are boring, but this one has a real hint of caramel. It is really neat. You don't even need to put a creamer in it. I love it. I drink it on a regular basis and love their coffee. Now, remember, use the promo code ATV10. It helps them know where the orders come from, and we appreciate you being a part of what we're doing. When we come back, my buddy James is going to be with us. We're going to talk about life, about networking, about what God has for you. We're going to do all that after this.
Behind every precious life, there was a choice. Behind every family moment, behind every special memory, there was a choice. A life of joy. A life that is beautifully and wonderfully made. At 7 Weeks Coffee, we are funding the pro-life movement, one cup at a time. Will you let your coffee serve a greater purpose?
Now, I want to thank the great folks at 7 Weeks Coffee, 7weekscoffee.com. Use the promo code ATV10 when you order. Now, I got a chance to meet this gentleman a few months ago, and we were suggested by friends to get a chance to meet. He's got some cool things he's working on. I don't know how much he wants to talk about, so I'm going to let him do that. But I know about it. See, I like that. And see, I can keep secrets. But James is a cool dude. James, good to have you with us this morning, sir. And I call you, and actually, I told a friend of mine about you a couple days ago. It was last Saturday. I said, this guy is like the networker of networkers. He knows everybody, and he knows how to connect everybody. And it's crazy how you do that. It's good to see you, my friend.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
And tell us what you want to, because I know some stuff you're working on, but
Sure.
tell the audience what you want to know. What are you working on currently that you can talk about?
Yeah. What I can talk about. I can talk about a lot of things, and I usually don't shut up, and for lack of words. So there's a lot of passion beyond what I do. I've been a Christian since I was 4 years old. Been at the same church for 52 years, sitting in one of our rooms here at the church right now. I'm an elder here. Been an elder for the last 12 years, I believe, and done everything at our local church. So just really passionate about Jesus and helping people find and follow him. And one of the most exciting projects I'm working on right now is through a nonprofit called Faith Builder Ministries. And Faith Builder Ministries is providing and in development of an application that will allow people not to forget what happens on Sunday morning or in your small group. So when you go to church on Sunday and the pastor spends anywhere from 10 to 15 hours in sermon prep, and we walk out in the parking lot, or certainly by Monday morning, we're like, what happened to our sermon notes? What do you talk about? Or I do remember a few things, but I got questions. Where do I go? Where do I turn? I don't know. I don't know what to do. So what Faith Builder, the application is doing is allowing you to interact with your elders, with your pastor, pastors, youth pastor, music minister, lead pastor, anybody in the elder team, and ask those questions that you have, because when you're sitting in service, it's not Q&A time. It's sit back, enjoy a nice cup of coffee, hopefully from the place that's sponsoring this show. But nevertheless, whatever you're doing, whatever you're just kind of absorbing it. But when you end up having questions, and where do you go? The pastor's completely you know, covered and surrounded. Our church is, 800 people on a Sunday. So, getting access to the pastors, a handshake, and out the door you go. And then the next service comes in, the next service comes in. So, and then they go out. So it's tough. And, being a Christian since I'm 4-year-old, being an elder, I don't have all the answers either. There's questions that I have. And where do I go? Yeah. Could I walk in the church with my key card whenever I want and storm into the pastor's office and say, hey, I want to talk to you? I probably can, but not everybody has that luxury. So insert Faith Builder, the app that will allow people to interact with leadership, and we call it the spiritual maturity and growth technology for your church, not the business of your church. It's not a tithing app. It's not something to arrange sermon songs, which is all important, but this is truly a spiritual tool. So that's what I'm most. I got a lot of things I'm working on, but I think trying to tie everything back to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, because without Him, we're in a good situation.
Right. And give our people, how did you come up with this idea? Because it's really a neat concept. Tell
Sure.
people,
Yeah,
walk people through that.
It's a long, convoluted story going back to 2019. So it isn't something just fell on my lap. I got approached by a student from Michigan State University, Go Green, where I graduated from in criminal justice. So my whole career has been criminal justice, from uniform to federal investigations to standing up a comprehensive school safety company with my buddy for school safety, school shootings, and suicides, and all the violence goes on, and trying to curtail that before it happens. And then coming full circle back on Toledo Fire Rescue as a chaplain and getting involved with the front lines there, and the day-to-day life of the firemen, and also the people that we serve in the Toledo Fire. And there's 600 or so firemen on the fire department. So it's a large fire department. So anyway, back to the app. So yeah, back in 2019, I got approached by an individual. He thought I knew something about business. I said, maybe, I don't know. I'm not, I'm a public safety guy. He's like, well, I need help building an app. I said, I can barely spell the word app, but what is it? He said, sports. I mean, I love sports. I've played church softball for 40 straight years. This is my 40th season. I still feel like I'm 12 for some reason. Maybe it's the power walking every day I do. I don't know, but I'm just thanking God for still feeling like 12 at 52 years old. So anyway, love sports, play sports. Sure, let's do it. So I'm like, well, what do we need to do? What do you need my help with? And he's like, well, we need to figure out how to raise a couple $100,000 to build the app. I'm like, I've never raised money. I'm a public safety guy. You don't raise money in public safety. I'm like, well, why don't we look around campus, see what's out there to help us, create this idea. So he looked around. It was 2019 going into 2020. We all know what happened in 2020. There's something called Spartan Innovations on campus. They fund some great ideas on campus. Lo and behold, it got funded as one of the best ideas on campus. Got shipped out to LA. A firm out there, a Spartan grad, had created for app development. He built it. Fox Sports thought it was really cool for about 5 seconds, and then dropped us like a sack of potatoes. And we're like, okay. So we're in the middle of 2020. COVID is full strength. My wife teaches 3rd grade. She's home from school trying to teach 3rd grade via Zoom. Didn't really work, wasn't working really well. I was working on this app and it wasn't going really well. We had a baby, and we had our first child in October of 2020. So this was kind of before that. And then, so we're like, and then one day some guy came to us and said, hey, why don't you focus on the Bible on this thing? And we're like, wow, that is absolutely incredible idea. Why don't we? And I'll let the suspense hold a little bit for what it all is. I'm not going to freak to tell you that. So I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Let's focus on the Bible. We need to retain scripture, and we need to do all the things. And so, from 21 to 24, we thought we had such a great idea. We put God in the passenger seat of the school bus and not in the driver's seat. And, being a Christian my whole life, that's not a good idea. But we thought we had this great idea, and he's just along for the ride, and we'll just go, and he's going to love it because we're going to help people mature in their faith. Well, he really wants to be in the driver's seat, guys. I mean, I think looking back on it, obviously, right, and good, strong life lesson for a lifelong Christian. And so for 3 years, we went around the wilderness thinking for profit and looking at things like, church community builder and planning center and all the great things that are, subscription based, for profit. And that's, what we thought we wanted and how we thought we were going to build this thing. Well, that's not what the Lord wanted, to the point. And sometime in 24, we're just like, this is going nowhere. I mean, we had built a small app. We realized we could put two churches on it. It crashed. Um, so we just put it on a shelf in 24 and said, well, we tried, didn't work, and go about our everything else we got going on. So sometime in 25, latter part of 25, the Lord tapped me on the shoulder pretty hard and said, that Bible app you were working on for the last 3 years, are you ready to put me in the driver's seat? And when you do that, I'll go all in. I'm like, yeah, it's probably where you should have been in the first place, come to think of it. And I'm like, yeah, that definitely. So I reapproached the host church that was kind of helping us launch it, a for-profit, not the church I'm an elder at, a church a little out of town. Buddy of mine's the lead pastor. Just made more sense to launch out there because I'm so involved with our church and trying to launch a bunch of stuff. It just didn't make sense. So went back to him and said, hey, we want to do this. Can you help us get started? We wanted, the Lord's directing us to a nonprofit. Even Rob was instrumental in telling us don't do a subscription-based model. So we removed the whole subscription-based model. It was a voice. Rob was the voice from God telling us that. Great job, Rob. Thank you very much for that. Kudos to you. And he didn't put me up to that. He's not giving me a free cup of coffee to say that. Maybe he will now. I don't know. But anyway, no. So we went all in and started building the nonprofit model and got all the approval from the church. We're now our own standalone nonprofit, 501c3. We've moved away from the church just because it's better to be our own standalone. The lead pastor out there is now on our board of directors, so no hard feelings. He's on our board of directors, and we've got 4 other individuals: a pastor from San Diego, an attorney from Michigan, a hospice president and CEO on the board. A very robust board. I serve as the executive director. Angeli is our associate executive director. Just means she takes care of all the day-to-day operations that I, really not good at. And then we have a director of technology that handles. He took an app from idea to profitability. So right, and then we have a CPA that handles all the. He's way too qualified, but he handles all our bookkeeping stuff. And and he's on his way to. He's soon going to be going. Good guy to be on the show. Elisha McFarland. He's on the way soon to Africa as a missionary in Kenya with him and his daughter and wife.
Oh, very cool.
So a little plug for him if you need a guest, and I can
Sure.
get you hooked up. I can connect with people a little bit. So yeah, so I mean, we got all that put together. We got the church was involved, but then we came out with the same old problem we had before. It's like, how do we raise $150,000, $200,000 to build this app? And the Lord's like, go do what you do best. And I'm like, nah. Rate seatbelt tickets? I don't know. I do public safety really well, I think, 25 years in one shape or another. And he's like, no, not that. I'm like, well, what is it? He's like, you talk to people really well. You can connect, you can connect with the right people. So I started talking to people. We're a day into this thing after kind of whatever. And, everybody wants to give me great ideas. Go out and have some spaghetti dinners and do some couples night, do a trivia night. And I did the math, and that was going to raise about $6,500 of the 150,000 to 200,000 we're going to need to raise to do this. And I'm like, that's not going to get us much more than a pretty little wireframe of some sort. And so I'm on the Salvation Army board of Northwest Ohio. They appointed me. I've been on since 2019, so I'm on a lot of different subcommittees now. But they appointed me nominating chair, and I'm like, okay, cool. Why? I don't know. I think probably I can talk to people and maybe listen to them and get them excited about the Salvation Army and hear their stories. So I had a list of people to call, and some guy named Josh Dressel, and I don't know who he is, and got this list. And I'm going to call Josh Dressel up. I'm like, hey, Josh, why do you want to join this? Thanks for applying to be on the board, and kind of tell me why you want to be on the board. And, he gives me all the right answers and sounds like a really good guy, good fit, loves people, loves Jesus, definitely. I'm like, yeah, let me move you on the process. There's a whole process involved in getting on, and very uniformed, and, have a nice day, and we'll talk in a couple weeks. And he's like, whoa, time out a minute. I'm like, yeah, what's going on? And he's like, well, tell me about yourself. Why do you love Jesus? Why are you on the board? I'm like, whoa, this is uncomfortable because, I'm a public safety guy. You don't get to ask the questions, you ask all the questions. You don't, people don't ask you questions. It's like, here's the questions I need to know. And then we'll go from there and, You either have some bracelets or we'll let you go and move on. But anyway, so he's like, well, why? I said, well, I love Jesus, been a Christian since I'm 4 years old, love serving communities, love serving outside of the church. I mean, I'm very involved as an elder inside the church, but if I can get outside of the church and help people, really exciting. So, oh, but anyway, and I'm also, up to my eyeballs in trying to build an application to help people find and follow Jesus so we can connect with them, Monday through Saturday. So, we see them on Sunday and they get the word, or they're in their small group, but they've got all these questions and they want to ask questions, and they want to grow, but they just don't have the capacity to do that. And there's nothing out there like this application. Yes, some large churches have created their own software for this, of course, but the small, the 50 to the 2,000 member church can't afford $150,000 to build an application like this. So, we're really trying to do that, but we're 100, all I'm getting is ideas to have more spaghetti dinners and trivia nights and couples nights that raise money. And I did the math and I can't barely add 1+1, but it seems like we're going to get to about $6,500 to get this done. And I'm like, I don't know what, that's where we're at. And he's like, wow, that is such a phenomenal idea. Love it, love it, love it. What if I told you I've got something better than $150,000 for you? Just out of the blue. I don't know this guy, never talked to him in my life. And I'm like, say what? What did you just say? I'm leaning in, to a phone call that he didn't see me leaning in to. Anyway, and he's like, well, I didn't tell you is, I'm part owner of an app development company, a software development company in Columbus, Ohio. We've got 200 app developers. We build major apps for the state of Ohio, for corporations. And this seems like a wonderful passion project to get you guys up and off the ground with what you need to have a usable product. I'm like, what in the world just happened? And that's what they've done, and that's what they're doing. We're in development now. Beta test 1 came out. Beta test 2, we gave them all, like after the first beta test, and I'm not an app developer, but we gave them all the things. And we've got Josh and some other pastors on board to say what is a usable product that churches are actually going to use, because we can do a lot of things, but we need the pastor's discernment to say this is what needs to be in the application. So that's what they're doing. And now they've got all that. They're working through all that. And hopefully by, midsummer, we should have a nice usable product that we can, get out to churches nationwide. We've got churches from Sri Lanka to the middle of Kenya interested. I communicate with a lot of people. They're like, wow, can we get this in the jungles of Africa? Can we get this in Sri Lanka, wherever Sri Lanka is? I don't even know. I got to Google it someday, but when I slow down. But so, yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's getting rave reviews. It's just with this idea that people can, because we're all about the spiritual growth and maturity of congregations. We're not about, a better tithing app, a better way to arrange music, a better way to get volunteers. Those are all, our church, all churches struggle with volunteers, but that's not what we're doing here. So if you
And I
want
love it. I get a
volunteers,
chance. I
yeah.
get a chance to meet with James's team, or part of his team,
Mhm.
on a call, and their heart is amazing. And that was one reason why I wanted to have you on the show. And you have not disappointed. You have an incredible heart. How did you? And I want to ask this because I love the app, but the other part that has always stuck out with me is you have such a servant's heart to network people. How did that start for you? How did you just go, or did it just naturally come?
I think it's just natural. I think it's what God gave me. And, I think, the career in public safety has definitely helped. I mean, I'm a public safety guy. I mean, I'm all about, I was the guy not sitting behind, Walmart reading the paper for the next call to come in. I was the guy out front, making sure the place was safe. You know what I mean? So it's all about, truly serving the public, not just, okay, call comes in, another smashed mailbox, go figure it out. But, it's like truly serving the public and making sure they're safe. So translated, I was always wanted to take care of people, places, and things, which was perfect for public safety. But then as I grew as a Christian over the years from 4 until 52, it's like, we can do this in the Christian realms. That's where we really should be doing it every day as well. So I think it was just a natural thing that the Lord put on my heart. And, over the years, I've gotten better at it. I'm not perfect, but it's a work in progress. So
What is, as a chaplain, and you mentioned that you're a chaplain,
sure.
um, what is the biggest challenge you see as a chaplain? What's the one thing that
I
just
think
every
just,
day?
yeah, people just being willing to be vulnerable, because I mean, there's a 600 number department, there's things going on, and there's a lot of stress in the department. The city of Toledo is a blue collar city, and all metropolitan cities now have a lot of overdoses and drug activity, and the I was more always on the law enforcement side, so seeing it from the fire side's a little bit different. In a lot of ways, a lot harder on the fire department guys, as opposed to, because they're there 24 hours when they go into shift, they're there, and that leaves their families home alone for 24 hours for the mom or the dad to take care of kids, and having a 3 and a 5-year-old. The old adage they say, it takes a village to raise a family. Now I understand, because we waited 18 years to have kids, mainly because I kept putting my wife off, like, why don't we just wait another year? And after 18 years, it was like, she was like, I've got 30 at school, but I'd like to have a couple of my own. I'm like, well, if you're ready, I'm ready. So let's roll. But we had to go sometime. So I got them all in before I was 50. 3 months before I turned 50, we had our last one, which is now 3. So I think the
That's
math works. I
awesome.
don't know. So yeah, so it's been a blessing, but it does take a village. And but to answer your question, I think it's just been something naturally that God put on my heart. So
How do people get involved with what you're doing? How do they find out about the app? Where can they go?
yeah, just go to faithbuilderministries.org. And it spells out everything there. Our associate executive director was led the charge on the app development, and she did a fabulous job. From what I'm told. I don't do apps. I mean, I don't do websites. I don't make websites. I don't do any technology really. I just talk about it.
So I always like to ask this question before we leave today. What is one thing you want to share with everybody that's out there watching? What is one thing today that you feel on your heart?
I think just grow in Christ, whatever it takes. You versions out there. There's a multitude of ways nowadays with technology can be really bad, but there's a lot of good things out there. And I'm a big fan of, we're making our own app for very specific for churches. But I mean, I'm a huge proponent of YouVersion. I think everybody, it makes Bible study and such so easy to grow, in specific studies. I mean, our app is more specific to each individual church, but YouVersion. So if there's one thing I can tell you is like, just use the technology out there that's out there to help you grow with Christ. Because back in the day when I was growing up, you had to get I remember I had a paper Bible. I still do, but you have to go to the back of the Bible, and like there was different options for studies. Now it's like at your fingertips. So just you know, love God well, love your family, love your wife well, and just put yourself out, put everybody else out in front of yourself,
That's
and
it.
God is
That's
so.
awesome. That's great advice. James, thanks for being with us, buddy. I
You're welcome.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Have a good day. Appreciate it. Anytime.
Yeah.
Take care.
Hey, what a great app, great people. Listen, if you get a chance, go check out the website. It will be in the show notes. We appreciate what he's doing. He is a fantastic, as I said, fantastic connector. Just one of those cool dudes to have in life and have as a friend. Where'd the time go? Went by way too fast again. Hey, listen, we appreciate you spending a part of your morning with us on the morning break. It is always awesome. Hey, listen, remember to check out our sponsor, 7weekscoffee.com. That's 7weekscoffee.com. Listen, appreciate you very much. And we will see you next time.